Hi creative friends, this is Soraya and thank you so much for being here. So I allowed this to completely dry and I'm gonna bring it up closer just so you can see what's going on. Some of it I like, some of it I'm not really liking, but I am pleased with the direction it's heading towards. And that's why it's so important to have goals, like even mini goals, because like it can bring me back in when I get off track. So like one of the small goals I set for myself is to keep the white of the paper showing like in some of the places. So if I feel like, I'm gonna cover it up, I try to like go, oh, okay, that's a goal of mine, so it'll get me back on track. And I just write down little mini goals or even like bigger goals, like be true to myself, I want to stick to this color palette, etc. And I just pin it like above my studio desk so I can just like look at it and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's, yeah, I want to stick to that. Or they can change, the goals can change midway through. That's totally fine too. Anyways, before I dive into this, I just wanted to address a comment that somebody made. So basically I have these pieces of found papers, junk mail, my own collage, and I dipped them in a tea bath, and I made a short about it, like how I do it. And I just like tea because it just blends like a very aged look to my papers, and I just love it. But the question I was asked is, can somebody use acrylic paints or inks to make a bath and then dip their stuff in and dye their papers? And absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I would just recommend that if you want your papers to be archival, then you would not use a cheap paint like this. This is like a super, super cheapy paint for like under $2 that you can just get in the craft section of a big box store. So I would go for more something like that says archival on it. Like, see, it says archival. This is Ranger re-inkers, and I've got a ton of them. And I would just like experiment. But if that's a concern of yours, then just make sure that whatever you're using, it says archival on it, and experiment. And also too, like I would recommend you work outside, like and I think actually that during the summertime I might put a drop cloth outside on the grass and like really experiment with some inks and paints. So thank you so much for that suggestion. Like, yeah, you guys can dye your stuff with whatever you want. Anyways, I'm gonna dive into this, and one of the things that I like doing is juxtaposing, like kind of contrasting elements. So when I leave this blank white page over here, and even over here, like there's a very thin wash. So even though the white of the page is not showing, it's like super, super watery wash over here. And I like juxtaposing that with like a very built up face. So sometimes like I can even put like Shiva oil pastels, like oil sticks. Sorry you guys, I misspoke. Not oil pastels, oil sticks. Like I can build this up with oil sticks, which actually I may do that, like not now, but later on, because the contrast of this like very kind of built up face with the like plain white of the paper, like I like that contrast. So yeah, that's something I can do. So what I want to do now is I just want to kind of build up the, like I want to kind of like create like hair. Like she's got hair, but she does not. So I want to kind of see if maybe I want to give her some hair. I don't know. Like maybe just kind of like, and I might need to build up some of this blue here. Like I might need to put some collage over top of it. And I love this Stabilo, you guys, because like I can just erase it with water and a paper towel. It's like so cool. So this is gonna be like a mom and a child, as you can see. Like it looks like a mom and a child, so I'm gonna kind of stick with that. And compositionally, like I really like that. So you guys, like sometimes I do things compositionally and sometimes I do things like for the story. And like when I'm working in a very specific art journal, like say the Medial Woman or my Healing My Ancestral Trauma art journal, then I am going for the story. Like the story takes precedence. All the other, like the symbolism and all the other stuff, it comes before. And I shouldn't say it comes before the composition, because the composition is an important part of it. And so you guys, I thought I was going to be using my oil sticks later, but I think I might start using them now. And this is what I mean about, you know, things just change all the time. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh my goodness, I haven't used these in a minute. So what I was saying is that, like, when I'm working in certain art journals, then I want the narrative to take precedence. And it's not like the composition isn't important. Of course it is, but you know, sometimes I want the composition to be like up front, like foremost, and then I want I'll build the story around it. Like, you know, like, oh, this works compositionally really well, I like the composition, and then I go, oh, and that's a mother and a child, and then I build a story over. And you know, this is just my Bristol paper, so who knows, like, this is not like in my art journals, they can become very personal, like extremely personal. And like, say, obviously with the healing ancestral trauma art journal, or the medial woman, or I've done other art journals where they're like so personal that, you know, it kind of becomes a bit yeah, I don't know. it leaves the realm of logic, and it just becomes like a part of me. So I made a video on how to use these, you guys, but I'll just quickly explain it. So because I haven't used these in a really long time, they do develop like kind of a skin over top of them. And all you need to do is you just kind of like take your finger and you just like, you know, flick off the skin part right there, and you just like take it out, and then you just use it. It just dries. And yeah, it's really not difficult to use. The table is gonna shake because I gotta like really work it in here. And the thing is, you have to let these dry anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, depending on the humidity of where you live, because you cannot work over top of this if it's not dry. It'll turn into a big mess. And you know, it's not a big deal to let it dry. If you live in a really dry place, it should, like when we lived in Colorado, for instance, it would dry in like 24 hours generally. But if you live in a humid place, like when we lived in Italy, oh yeah, you know, it takes a long time. Not a long time, but I would give it like 2 days, maybe sometimes even 3 days, depending. Do you see how luscious this is? So these are not like oil pastels, you guys. These do dry, and they are like different. They're just, I don't know how to explain it. They're different than oil pastels. But do you see now, like the way it contrasts with the white of the paper? Like, this is so built up now, and I'm probably gonna add like more layers, maybe even, I don't know. So I'm gonna put this on here. And I'm gonna like take the skin off this a little bit. So I'm just working it into the paper, you guys, and I'm gonna leave that top part, like I'm gonna leave it because I kind of like that. And I'm kind of experimenting as well, because generally when I've used these oil sticks, and I haven't used them for a minute, but when I do use them, like I like to cover up the whole face. But like over here, I'm letting some of the stuff show through, and this is kind of new for me, but you know, I love finding new ways to work and new ways to use things that I've used for a long time. I first started using these like, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 years ago, and I just love them. I mean, the colors are so rich and delicious. And the bonus is that they do dry completely. They're not live like oil pastels. So, you know, they're a little bit different. And look how rich they are. They're just luscious, just so beautiful. But I like finding new ways of me using them. So just a quick fact, you guys. These oil sticks over here are, and I could be wrong on this, but I think they were invented as a cheaper alternative to oils, like the oil paints. Now, of course, they have like kind of, you know, over the years, I'm sure they've modified and changed and stuff like that. But I think that's why they were invented, is as a cheaper alternative to oil paints, because oil paints they used to be like super, super expensive to produce, to make. Ooh, I'm loving that. So I'm gonna let this dry here, and I think I need to just like add a little bit of kind of shading there. And now what I'm gonna do is, before I leave this, I think I might just put some collage down for the hair, so that way it can dry. And then when I come back, like I can kind of work over top of it. So let me see here. Ooh, I don't know. This might be a bit dicey here. Let me see. Because I don't want the, like I don't want to mix water with the oil sticks here. Like any kind of water I don't think would work well. So I just want to be super careful. I'm just going to lay that down. Okay, you guys, so if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. And oh, I love your comments and your suggestions. It really gives me new perspectives, and it gives me things to think about. So I really appreciate all of your comments and, you know, just ideas. Like I'm gonna try that ink bath, and I'll work outside and I'll update you guys on how that goes. That should be really interesting, actually. Okay, you guys, so there we go. You know, I'm kind of interested to see how that's gonna dry, and so I'm gonna leave this for a couple of days. So anyways, you guys, if you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.